From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
How does law enforcement respond to calls about mask violations? I'm Gabby Crevitt, and I'll have the story coming up.
The problem with the $600.
And if you go to a local court, the judge may not be wearing a mask. Coming up, why that might be happening is explained by one of our local judges. .30 on this Wednesday. Chet Lehman, Caitlin Corbett, Matt Elwell.
It's a Wednesday Monday.
Yeah, yes it is.
Mondays just keep dragging along.
Oh,
They
We have Monday.
hopefully
Friday.
tomorrow's not a Monday,
No,
but we
because
always
tomorrow's
say
Thursday,
Thursdays are
the
the
worst day. Yeah,
hardest.
so who knows?
Thursday can't be worse than 3
You should
Mondays
just
in a
tune
row.
in tomorrow at 5 to see what version of us will
We'll
be
tell
here.
you what day we think it is.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to be the less hot day tomorrow. Today is the hot day. We talked about this earlier. I kind of make my way through the week by what day is what,
Right.
based on the weather pattern. Today's the second hot day in a row. Temperatures today are actually pretty comfortable in the morning. The afternoon, it will be hot. You look at Futurecast, there is a chance of a few clouds trying to roll into western Montana for the afternoon. Could include some thunder showers as well as we head into the evening. Tomorrow's probably the better potential of those stronger storms. But it will be hot, likely to be into the 90s for much of the area for the afternoon today. And man, it is going to be rough. Drink plenty of water. We're going to break down your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you very much, Matt. 6:31 now. Lawmakers are currently talking about the possibility of a second round of stimulus relief and funding.
And that includes additional money for people receiving unemployment benefits. In Montana, residents receiving unemployment are getting an additional $600 per week. But that's scheduled to end this Saturday unless lawmakers decide to extend those benefits. Right now, lawmakers have several options, including extending, stopping, or lowering the additional $600 weekly.
The problem with the $600 weekly stimulus in Congress's mind is that it was deterring jobless Americans from accepting job offers.
By the way, if lawmakers are unable to reach a decision by this Saturday, the $600 bonus payments will simply stop.
Mask rules have created lots of tension these days from people sharing public spaces across the country. MTN's Gabby Crevitt tells us when exactly law enforcement decides to step in.
You're coming close to me. You're coming close to me. Back up!
Threaten me again!
We've all seen videos like these going viral across the country on social media, from customers refusing to wear a mask in a store to those threatening to call law enforcement on people not wearing masks. So when is it appropriate to call law enforcement?
If there's a situation that causes somebody to be in fear for their personal safety, then call 911. So that is if somebody's being threatening, somebody is being aggressive and causing someone concern for their safety, then that's what law enforcement has generally been responding to.
So you don't need to call 911 if you see a mask violation. And the director of Gallatin County's 911 communication says residents in Gallatin County are generally doing a good job in differentiating between when and when not to call.
We've been pretty fortunate within our dispatch center, as we're not seeing a huge call volume for mask violations, and I think that's a direct result of the health department and ourselves and the county in general really putting out some good messaging on what's an emergency and what's not.
But, for example, if a customer refuses to wear a mask in a business that's asking them to wear one, that could be considered an emergency, and that customer could face trespassing or disorderly conduct charges.
We're trying to strike this balance of being able to have commerce and businesses open and functional, and also do it in as safe a manner as possible. And so these regulations are designed for that, and that's what we want people to keep in mind.
In Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Staying on topic for a bit, masks are becoming more a part of our lives following the governor's order requiring us to wear them in public spaces during the pandemic. That also includes the courtroom. Gallatin County Justice Court has had signs like this one since before the order last week, but following the order, proceedings have continued from behind masks. But court staff say a question may have started to ask, why aren't judges wearing face coverings? Justice Court Judge Rick West took time to explain why before court proceedings last week. He said while the court and judges like himself are following the order, he told the courtroom it's an important part of the process to be able to see orders being set forth, much like the contents of the Governor Bullock's address.
I'm advising them over video or in person of the rights against them, their rights or the charges against them, possible penalties and different things like that is an imperative that they be able to hear me and understand me. So if anybody is wondering why I am not wearing a mask while on the bench, that is why.
Now, any questions about masks or mask violations should be directed to the Gallatin City County Health Department, not to 911.
Meantime, 40 people have now died in Montana from COVID-19. The latest, a woman in her 90s, passed away at the Canyon Creek Long-Term Care Facility in Billings. That makes 13 people who have died there in just the past 15 days. The state health department reports 97 new cases in 20 counties, 18 of those in Gallatin County. MTN News reported some of those to you yesterday as we report an update when the county health departments report their numbers. Gallatin City County Health Department reports after the state and has 25 new confirmed cases with 87 active cases. 5 people are currently hospitalized in Gallatin County. Beaverhead County has 3 new cases for a total of 12. Madison County with 3 new cases also for a total of 47. Jefferson adds 2 new cases and is now up to 16, and Butte Silverbow has no new cases, holding at a total of 30.
Now, for the first time, we're hearing from officials at Canyon Creek Memory Care Facility in Billings. The COVID-19 outbreak there happened after the facility refused voluntary testing from the state of Montana.
MTN's Andrea Lutz reports officials at the facility say those voluntary tests would have only provided a snapshot of results for a small moment in time.
Traveling to Billings from Washington State for the first time since COVID-19 appeared in their facility, leaders of Kelch communities say their primary focus is on residents and staff.
It's been a busy time and they come first. We have to make sure that we're taking care of them.
Chief Operating Officer Eva Arendt says that's why officials haven't addressed questions publicly yet regarding why voluntary testing was initially refused.
So we opted out, as did, I believe, 100 other communities in the state of Montana.
Kelch, a family-owned business out of Olympia, Washington, operates over 30 facilities in 8 states. During a Zoom call the day after leaders, including the company's CEO, left Billings, they say they stand by their decision to opt out, but did promptly take measures to ensure there was no cross-contamination when the virus was initially discovered.
All it would do is give us a picture of those results for that moment in time. Residents could be exposed or staff could be exposed the very next day and test positive later in the week.
But Arendt says they want the public to know administering a COVID test to a dementia patient is complex.
The deep nasal swab test is invasive, and to a person who does not understand what is happening, it can be very scary for them.
The outbreak started with a resident who tested positive at the hospital on June 30th. The state offered its free testing in mid-June.
We have put in place policies and procedures that we feel have protected our residents well. I mean, it is June 30th when Canyon Creek had their unfortunate outbreak. And though we've been in the throes of a pandemic since late February.
Currently, 43 of its residents have tested positive with COVID-19. 2 are currently negative, while a dozen have died. Reporting in Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
All right, 6:39 now. We're going to take a quick break here on Montana This Morning. When we come back, another round of stimulus aid from federal government is on the table in Washington. The clock is running down. Coming up, the stumbling blocks among Republicans as that package is debated. But first, let's take a look at what's coming up at 7 o'clock on CBS This Morning.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, the latest on the debate to reopen schools as President Trump changes his tone on this crisis. Also, see how the pandemic is creating unexpected demands and shortages for everyday items. adding to the difficulties many Americans face in this new normal. Plus, only on CBS This Morning, I like when we can say it, I'm going to say it again, only on CBS This Morning, we're going to take you to the ocean to show you why researchers are very concerned about an alarming drop in the worldwide shark population. And after a 14-year break, the chicks, they're back together. There they are. Remember them? They used to be the Dixie Chicks. Now they're the Chicks. We're going to talk about their recent name change and the opportunity to address the nationwide protest against racial inequality. We'll see you at 7 o'clock on the dot.